Hello everyone. It's February the 27th and the energies are really high right now, as kind of predicted, as I thought it would really manifest. You can see it right here. To start with this picture, these were all major solar flares over the last week or so, from February 20 on. M4, M6, M5, all in that range, super large solar flares. The sun is super active. We are still 2 years away from solar maximum, but we are already in that extreme phase of turbulent frequencies coming in from the sun. Here you see this is today's sunspots, and here is what it says. That is just has been published a few hours here on spaceweather.com. The second coronal mass ejection, that is when a big flare occurs. The sun at the same time is billowing out clouds of solar plasma, which are basically protons, hydrogen atoms, charged hydrogen atoms, H+. So we are still waiting for the second coronal mass ejection to hit Earth's magnetic field, it says here, but it might already be here. Now we will see in the next few hours on February 27th between 10 and 13 hours universal time. The Faraday Cup on the NOAA's Discover satellite went haywire due to a grounding fault when it regained its senses. The solar wind speed had jumped to 800 kilometers per second. That is the combustion stream coming from the sun right now. That's the speed of it. The highest value in years, which created what's called a G3 geomagnetic storm. So here you see this is the post I made here on celestial rhythms on my Facebook page. On my personal one, I posted it also on the celestial rhythms page, which is a group celestial rhythms. And here you see this is the KP index, and all that can be found on the space weather page. I'll show you in a minute where. So the KP index is the amount of turbulence in Earth's geomagnetic field. And let me show you this one, right? This is the solar wind speed. Actually data on the solar wind, all kinds of speed is just one of them. Speed is down here. You see that was on February 22nd. Around the speed was at 400 kilometers per second. We had a little wave here on the 24th of February, went down, and then here as we enter into the 27th, the speed jumps up here to 700 first, and then here between 10 and 13 hours UT universal, it jumps up to over 800, and we are still in this phase of high solar winds. Right now we are at let me just reload the page, then you see what the latest values are here, which are published. They update this page on a very regular base. Right now we are at 641. Now as you see down here, you see this is the actual positions of the planets, and the moon is at 1834 Gemini here, and Mars at 1846. So we're pretty close to this conjunction of moon and Mars, which is kind of at the back of this crazy outburst of frequencies of energies. Naturally, if you are in a place where you can see auroras, this is a great time. This was recorded, as you see, in Washington State, naturally, and there's lots of other really nice pictures here also in Space Weather page, where they have an archive for pictures which viewers take and send in, and so this is always a great site to start with if you want to know more about the soundspaceweather.com. Anyway, so we are in this extreme phase of energy build up, and really it's pretty obvious it is related to the comet. The 5th and the 6th touchdown point of that comet's energy is just about coming in the early days of March. As I mentioned in my earlier recording, it's the March the 3rd when the comet will be exactly vertical above the Earth's equator. If you extend that plane of the Earth's equator, which is where the declination is 0, that is if you three-dimensionally picture planets in space, then the declination shows how far off they are from the equator, either north or south. So being exactly above Earth's equator naturally is the moment when this energy gets directly infused into Earth's field. And then 2 days later, on the 5th of March, as I mentioned also much earlier, and you have to go back to these videos where I show you all the wonderful astrological signatures of that comet. Over here I left this just as a standing image here of the comet's discovery. This was on March the 2nd, 2022. So pretty much we are at the anniversary now when this implementation of its frequencies is getting completed. And it is, as I said, the 5th and the 6th touchdown point we are approaching. I tell you more about what that means in a minute. Let's just say one more thing ahead of that. I want to go into the Mayan calendar again. As you know, this is one of my babies which I'm looking after always. This is a wonderful way of understanding the frequencies, the energies prevalent in time. Right now, today, the 27th of February, we are here at 12 Chikchan, which in itself is an intense day. That is the red crystal snake. The celestial snake is connected to instinct and survival. It is activating that chakra where we are most strongly connected to Earth's energetic grid, the hara. So we are in direct resonance with that powerful energy. You could also call it, it's that it's linked to the reptilian brain, which is really at the core of who we are in our brain. If you know what that means, it is where, as I say, all the instincts and the primal power of life is emerging from. So anyway, today is in that sense a very powerful day in multiple ways, and tomorrow the 28th is the last day of this second wave in the Mayan calendar. Again, I'm in the wrong place. Here it is, because we just started a new calendar round on the 3rd of February, and as I say, February 28th, that is tomorrow, will be the white cosmic world bridger, a beautiful peaceful energy that will be a nice kind of contradiction in that sense, bringing it down to earth, that frequency. And Kimi is also an energy which is very much attuning to the greater realities, bridging between the worlds. That says also bridging between dimensions. and there's deep wisdom in that day. Definitely a day to celebrate tomorrow. And then, interestingly enough, on March the 1st, for 13 days, we will be in total sync here with numerology. First day will be the blue hand, the blue magnetic hand. Magnetic stands for number 1, which initiates these 13 days of the healing hand, which is all about how we can make things better, how we can bring in our intelligence to improve upon and bring innovation, bring shift, change from an intelligence point of view. In that sense, the hand is the symbol of helping God in a way, being God's hand on this planet, the ones who are truly the incarnation of that divine energy. So this is all really super auspicious, and if we just now go into the astrology of it all, then that is today's chart, just a few minutes away here where I am. You see the moon, as I say, 1846 is Mars, 1834 the moon. It's probably a little farther if I click on it. It updates usually, let's see, yeah, 1852. So it is just actually already past that point. So here you have the moon and Mars. Now, why is this so important? Mars has been the planet which was charged up and still is getting more charged up by this comet's energy. I mentioned the 6 touchdown points. Let me quickly line them up. The first, naturally, is the comet's discovery, when it pops into the collective data bank, you could say, when its presence is recorded. The second one was when it was closest to the sun, which happened on the 12th of January, just hours prior to Mars turning backwards to, I should say, resuming direct motion after having gone backwards for 11 weeks. So this was an incredibly interesting timing. And then on February the 1st, Mars and the comet had a perfect alignment just within hours of the comet being closest to Earth. So this was touchdown point 2. Then the third one was when the comet was exactly in the Sun-Earth plane, which was on the 3rd of February or so, if I remember correctly. And then well, I'm missing one, but there are 6 in total. The 5th naturally touchdown point is when the comet again is exactly lined up above the equator on the 3rd of March, and then on the 5th of March, this will be really the day when the energy is shifting into forward motion in a big way. We are still in that building up phase toward that. That is when the comet will turn direct in motion in the exact same degree as Mars turned direct on the 12th of January. There is this amazing alignment, charging up of the Martian energy, and when Mars is getting visited in that sense by the moon, the moon is then picking up Mars energy, and the moon naturally represents the people. So this is really a charging up of the frequencies in our personal fields, in our collective, in our expression as also many at once. So there you can expect, or you probably never will hear it because it's not reported on, but there's definitely lots and lots going on this planet right now, and this is really just a starting point. So here, when Moon and Mars have the exact conjunction, or just had a few minutes ago, you see here on the 0 meridian we have Uranus. Yes, this is a big activation day today. And then the Sun here, you see 918 Pisces here, and is pretty dead on exact where the Moon was in the Comet's discovery chart. And you see the Sun is now here gradually edging closer to the solar return. Naturally will be on the 2nd of March again this year. This is how solar returns work, when the Sun comes back to the same degree. And then a few days later the Sun will activate here Jupiter in the Comet's discovery chart, which is the planet of expansion and of power in a very general way, just making things big and loud, and so it cannot be overseen. So this build up, and actually on that day, on that very day, when the Sun will be conjunct Jupiter here in the Comet's discovery chart, that is when the comet turns direct. How about that? So there's so many indications this comet has an extremely important mission, and as you probably have heard from what I shared on the 9th take off on the comet, this is an additional energy which is coming into the solar system, which delivers the codes for humanity's liberation, their deliverance from oppression and all. Well, believe in it or not, but you will see there is some amazing shifts already happening. All the information which is now becoming more and more loud, and more people saying the right thing. Yes, it's still alternative channels if you wish, but it's popping into the mainstream. I just today published a couple articles here which I came across. Just want to quickly show you. So there was, well, let me just first show you here a beautiful picture of yeah, this is important too. The Canterbury being the kind of the poster child of the 15-minute cities. If you don't know what the 15-minute city is, look it up. It's not in the news. They don't want you to know it. And well, where do I have that beautiful picture? Has it now disappeared? No global warming for 8 years. This is again official science data, PJ Media. But that's not what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you this beautiful picture of the, here it is, the present, actually on March 1st, and I will cover this in a minute too. This is Venus, and this is Jupiter. And Venus will converge with Jupiter on March the 1st. This is a big one, and we will, as I say, I have that lined up here in my charts. Just wanted to show you this, but what I really want to show you here in that term of, in that context of great information coming out. I mean, you probably know Russell Brand. He's doing a wonderful job. And this latest one, which was published today, it's definitely worth listening. He is taking that NBC show apart, where they give you all the right information in the wrong context. Anyway, it's definitely worth watching. This is another one I came across. This was published 3 weeks ago though. The Georgia Guidestones, Darkest Secrets Revealed. As you probably remember, they were destroyed on July the 6th, 2022, and nobody has yet known who was behind the construction of that monument and why it was taken down. Anyway, it kind of popped up on our YouTube feed. The Y files, something for you to look up. A great channel, as I say here, definitely want to go back to, as it appears to offer great content based on solid research. That's so that these are just my personal experiences of today, of an information really popping up in a way bigger than expected. And this is, as I say, just the beginning. It's getting wilder and wilder. So this chart furthermore here of the Moon-Mars conjunction, which I really see as an initiation point. The Moon is now charged with Mars energy, Mars being charged with the Comet's energy. The Comet just coming to its anniversary here with all these final releases of its energy. Yeah, it's really a powerful celestial choreography we are seeing here. The universe is putting in place to make it really clear of the magnitude of what's happening right now in all ways possible. Seeing there's great revelations, release of energy, release of codes, firing up of so many people who have been waiting for that moment to be inspired, to know what they should do and how to go ahead, how to proceed. Also in our personal field here, we know of quite a few people who go through extreme challenges these days. It's kind of the existence is pushing us really to the edge of the abyss, where we have to make the right decision in order to survive. Even it is super critical times in many ways. Intense for sure. Intense is probably just the preview, the pre-name, the first name. You get it. Anyway, I'm supercharged too, as you see. And let's get into the charts here a little bit. So this is just today, and I just wanted to show you the heliocentric picture of this moment. So this is this chart, right? Actually, I have it here. I forgot I have it open already. So see heliocentrically now, same moment, just from a different perspective from the Sun. Mercury is aligning up with Pluto over the next few days, really kind of challenging our intelligence, everyone's intelligence in their own way, in their own setting where they are in life. Many eurekas are possible, but it is also a challenging phase of having to come to terms with difficult information, and naturally with Mars here at the opposition point. If we do the math here, then I did that, the midpoint between Mars and Pluto right now is at 2535 Capricorn, and you see this is really close to where Mars is. So it is a real activation of that Pluto energy too, and Mars is approaching the Pluto opposition here within the next few days too. In the heliocentric, all of that together, yes, expect the energy levels to stay high or even go more wild. I mean, we have been talking about this for months, that February, March will be the time of change, of huge changes. I pointed the spring equinox out already last fall, that this would be a major I wouldn't even call it a turning point. It is really a reset point in many ways. That's what we are approaching, and so never mind the intensity, that's what is happening, that's what has to happen. So this is the heliocentric chart, and you again see Uranus here with Juno, actually Juno, which is all about working together as a team, coming together, closing shoulders, supporting one another. All that is super important. There's lots and lots of other things going on we haven't even been talking about yet here. That big conjunction of Jupiter with the two gray planets here, Chiron and Astrea, which is taking the job of healing serious and making it something of first order, something which is super important, putting in our complete energy. Jupiter is that resource in Aries into healing and cleaning up. And no wonder this is here at the third house cusp. So it is all about the information flow which has come out and become more loud. Aries again ruled by Mars. In that sense, Mars here receiving and boosting Mercury and Pluto. This is linking into this third house cusp too. So anyway, this is just a momentary picture as the Moon and Mars, Moon particularly moves fast. So let's look at what's around the corner. Yes, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction, as I showed you just a minute ago, that is a powerful celestial event, particularly so as we all can observe it happening in real time, as we see every night now the two planets coming closer, and they actually will be within half a degree of distance in the sky. So this is a really big event energetically. That's why we have to look at it for a minute. Interesting that moment the Moon here at 1322 Cancer, the American nation's sun, or which I like to call the New World's chart, the real New World chart, not the New World Order. No, this is a different story. The New World, which I mean is, as I laid out in one of my earlier videos, is that ignition point, the Declaration of Independence on July the 4th, 1776, when really the ideological foundation was laid for a new earth, a new humanity, all these wonderful, great ideals that were behind building or laying the foundations for the American nation. And naturally, this is definitely way, way bigger than just the US. Again, this is just the condensation point from where everything will eventually ripple out from. Yes, it's happening in all places simultaneously, but still there is this crystallization point in the United States which can't be overlooked. It's super critical. This is the United States, their nodal axis, the south node and the north node. And yes, this is where their sun is at 1319 Cancer. There's really an amazing set of synchronicities here in this chart, hinting at something really shifting in a great way in that country in the next few weeks, months for sure. I would even say in the next few weeks. That's what it looks like. Now here also Venus Jupiter naturally first of all is a positive frequency, to make that really clear. This is the smaller and the bigger benefice, as they are called in traditional astrology, the two lucky stars, so to say, Venus and Jupiter, and here they are, you see 1208 Aries, Jupiter and Venus sharing exactly that degree. Here they are in this location. Again, this is the geocentric chart as seen from Earth. Now again, if we go back here to the discovery chart of the comet, I really like to have this on the side, so let me just reopen it here on the side. You see here you have the Sun at 1121 Pisces, 1155, so we're getting really closer to that exact solar return. So you could say the comet's anniversary is really celebrated here in a big way by a whole range of alignments, which I will show you. This is just this first one. Now, yes, this is a positive sign heralding beautiful things, but nevertheless we have the black moon at the 7th house cusp showing, yes, before we get there, the shadow will come into sight. It's in its full stature. Varuna here, Varuna all about integrity and sincerity and justice, big words here. T squared by the nodes, 544 north node, south node, 544 north node here in Taurus, 554. You see this is very close to exact, this square. Actually just hours later it is exact. Where do we have it here? Did I not show it? I guess I forgot. I wanted to show you that chart too. Let me see. I think it's right here. 1350 or 14. Okay, just bear with me for 1 second because this is another really interesting one. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, I didn't open that anymore. I just always have too many charts I wanted to show you. Anyway, I open this now here because we want to have a quick peek on it. It's again super important also in context to the comet. Okay. We are. So the comet's black moon, again the black moon being where the shadow is released, in a very simplified way said. And as this energy, this comet's energy, is all about that release of the codes, of the missing information to solve the puzzle. It's kind of like the codes to open the safe. It's might be a very small piece of information, a key. If we insert it in the right way, then everything falls in place. That's how it looks to me. And with all that Piscean energy, this is definitely linked in with the Aurora network, which the 9 and Magenta Pixie have been talking about. The Aurora network of all the people in the know, all the light workers, all you guys basically, and many more who are totally oblivious yet of their roles, but they are all in place and they all will get activated. That information being really just brought back to life. It's already there as our personal instructions, which we have within ourselves, as Jacqueline Hobbs, Oracle Girl, very nicely reminds us of all the time. You have it all. You just have to express through your heart, be in that frequency of compassion and love, and then everything will work out, because then you are in tune with nature, then you are in tune with the real earth grid, which we are rewriting. So all that said, this Comet's energy with so much Pisces frequencies, Pisces and Aquarius, you see that's the bulk of it. Yes, there is also that beautiful conjunction in the last degrees of Capricorn, of Venus, Mars, Pluto, and the Comet, which is at 2 degrees 22, I guess it was when it was discovered. And yeah, I know this video again will get longer than I really want, but this degree in itself, the 3rd degree of Aquarius, its Sabian symbol says a deserter from the army. Does it somebody who starts thinking for themselves and starts deciding, I don't have to go with the main flow, I can do my own thing, I am strong enough to be an outsider. That's kind of the base frequency of this comet, together with naturally the ascendant in the 17th degree, which is a watchdog standing guard, protecting his master and his possessions. And this is the development of the capacity to protect oneself and to safeguard one's individual rights under complex social pressures. How about that? That's exactly what we're up to. We are protecting ourselves, and we are here to safeguard our individual rights under complex social pressures. Really want to give the kudos here to Mr. Rudyard, and naturally the one which originally has been receiving these symbols, which is Mark Edmund Jones, who works together with her name is Wheeler, I forget her first name. Let me see if it's right here. Elsie Wheeler, that was in 1925. This is a marvelous little book, really gives you an image for each of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And just to remind you, for one more degree, which is super charged up, again, it's obvious that is the degree the comet will turn direct, where Mars turned direct. The 9th degree of Gemini, that is, and the comet actually is now in this 9th degree of Gemini. I just want to show you here quickly the ephemeris, then you know what I'm talking about. Here it is. You see, this is the longitude of the comet back here. You see it turns direct on the 5th of March at 8:21 Gemini, and it has entered the 9th degree by crossing backwards over the 900 mark on the 23rd of February So for an extended period of time, the comet is in this same degree where Mars turned direct on the 12th and where Mars was in for the first 24 days of the year, as I had pointed out back then. You can go back to that recording. It's still very valid, as these are all, as I say, starting points of new cycles. We are looking at here markers in the ground, milestones if you want. So as you say, it will be into March 17. That's how long the comet is in this degree, expressing through that. Now this degree's meaning is a quiver full of arrows, and the keyword is conquest. Yes, it's a very Martian energy, and as Mars turned direct in that degree, the comet now doubling down, putting its final leg in here on that day. Yeah, and again, this is just the start. We are just getting started here. This is epic. We are really getting into a very wonderful and epic phase. Intense, dangerous in many ways. Certainly it needs courage, it needs trust, and it needs most of all that love energy of wanting to be here in service for humanity and helping in that rebirth into a new time, something which we cannot even imagine how wonderful it will be, but it is important to look forward and plant the seeds. So anyway, black moon lunar node square. That's an important one. The lunar nodes, they move once every 18 years around the zodiac in retrograde motion, whereas the lunar nodes, that's for those of you who are new to astrology or don't know that much yet, this is where the path of the moon cuts through the sun-earth plane. So there's two places. One, it cuts in coming out of upward, which is the north node, and the other one is where it descends again into the lower realms, so to say, going underwater if you want. And the black moon is another important point of the moon's orbit. It is where the moon is farthest away from Earth, and this point, in that sense, because it's always just an empty point once a month, the moon is there virtually, or really I should say, but this point moves once in 9 years around the zodiac. So this is really not happening very often, that these 2 points are in square to one another. And always whatever is in that square point of the nodal axis, which is really evolution at work, if you want. It's evolution in a nutshell. That's where we are coming from, where we are going to. So the black moon here being at center stage right now here in that evolutionary motion. And then we have here the 25th degree of Gemini rising, and this is what I want to show you. This is where the black moon is in the Comet's discovery chart. And this also happens to be the degree which Neptune is squaring right now. So it is all about that Neptune energy, seeing through the many layers of this reality. Again, that is quoting the 9 Magenta Pixie, said that very nicely. The many layers of reality are becoming obvious. It is that capturing of the Neptunian energy, making it visible, as I laid out in so many of my earlier videos here. So okay, before too long I should keep going here. So on the 2nd of March, then that's just 10 hours later, the sun enters a new hexagram. 63 is the one which is called after completion. That is the center degrees of Pisces here between 11, 22, 30 and 17 Pisces. 63 after completion, 64 before completion. This is a super interesting pair of I Ching oracles, which are all about the endings and the beginnings and the endings. It is, they give each other, they shake each other's hand here in these degrees, so to say. Very much connected to the source above. If you look at the diagram, how these channels are, where they are located in that graph of the human design, then you see these are energies which help us understand the plans of the cosmic hierarchy, you could say, to tune into that. So I will continue. So this is then on from the 2nd of March again into the 8th of March. So this whole window of super interesting alignments is happening while the sun is in hexagram. 63, you can look it up, the ones of you who have the I Ching. And then again, this is all in celebration of that comet's anniversary, I would say, to really show how important a moment that is. We have a Mercury-Saturn conjunction in the very last degree of Aquarius. It's probably the last aspect Saturn makes to any other planet before changing signs, then 5 days later on the 7th of March. In that sense, again, Mercury and Saturn, this is focused attention, research, understanding of that complex Aquarian energy on all its aspects, in all its angles, from the extreme AI control frequency down to the restructuring of society in a more intelligent way, also in context of all the free energy which is starting to pour out from different places. 0 point energy is probably the better name. Source point energy, I guess that's another name. Magenta suggested. I wrote it down here. I wanted to share that too with you. Yeah, source field energy, source emanation energy, all that which is related to Uranus in Taurus coming down. These are kind of the moments when this is getting more and more fed into the collective field, you could say. And again, very interesting, the frequency together here with the comet's energy, the alignment. The moon here in this chart with the equatorial point, again the moon very powerfully placed on the Earth's equator here on the ascendant. And I wanted to show you also the heliocentric chart of that moment with Pallas again here heliocentrically at the ascendant this time. And interesting also, heliocentric Mercury is already in Aquarius here, whereas here, as seen from Earth, it's actually at the end of Aquarius. So this is interesting, bridging the last with the first degree of this sign of scientific focused research, building your story on many factual points. That is Aquarian research really with Mercury. And Pallas, the one who sees the patterns, again super powerfully placed here. Then just the day after, we have the Hygeia Pluto conjunction, again the 25-degree mutual signs here. This time it's Neptune exactly on the ascendant. So yes, this is focusing again on that Neptunian energy, again on the whole spectrum, naturally on the dark end, that the system is overwhelmed with even more nonsense information that doesn't add up, deceptions and such, and all kinds of confusion intentionally planted. But on the other side, it is the sign that this energy is being put in the spotlight, so it can be dissembled, because without fully exposing itself, it cannot be recognized. That's again the story here. Now, the conjunction I really focus on here is the Hygeia Pluto. Hygeia is health, well-being, as you probably know by now. Pluto is the one which brings renewal, transformation. In that sense, in that very final degree again here of Capricorn this time, it is seeing through the construct of how things are, also of what health means, what health is supposed to be, all that multiple ways you can look at the expression of Hygeia these days. Naturally, it is a central energy, and the moon here close to the black moon this time, already in opposition. Actually, again, if we do the midpoint here, 25 plus 6, 31, 32, so the midpoint would be at exactly 1 degree Leo. So you see that is very close. It's also showing that there's lots of disclosure on that level going on, naturally, with Mercury and Saturn. This is all part of the parcel. Watch this degree here, 28, 16 Sagittarius, and that is where the moon was when the comet was closest to Earth at its perigee on February 1st. I found that super interesting. And this here also shows how important Saturn is in this whole context of detaining and uncloaking that energy which is wreaking havoc with our whole world, all that wrong and false information and cheating and corruption and not all that included with that late Gemini moon. Yes, this is here close to chaos and BNR. Chaos is natural order, as you probably know by now. That is the original meaning of the Greek deity chaos. It's the original order where everything is born out of, the sacred geometry behind everything. BNR, the strongman, innovation, and the standing up for sovereignty. This is one of the centaurs representing that. All of that here with the moon. So again, this shows you the basic charge this comet is delivering to Earth's field, because this was the closest approach to Earth on February 1st. Again, that was just hours before it had its close encounter with Mars. And this is now the 3rd of March. Then we're jumping again. This is now after the comet's anniversary of discovery. You see 1246, we are now here 1155, so that's a day later, but still very, very close to this anniversary where the comet is at 0 declination. As I said before, this when it stands vertically above the equator, kind of you see the Earth rotating and the comet far away by now already. You have to have a telescope to see it, but still it is that one and only moment when it is standing vertically above the equator, in that sense feeding into the Earth's electromagnetic grid, and with the nodal axis here perfectly in the power line, the consciousness axis, the focus, the plumb line. Yes, this is beautiful. This is what is our goal in that sense, to in hexagram 27 nourishment, to really reboot the whole our whole planet in a natural, wonderful way, to replenish everything. That is the bigger story here. Interesting also that Neptune's discovery chart has the moon in this degree, again links into the Neptunian frequency, how it is under close, I would say, investigation. And this is when on the 12th of February, that was, Mars was close to conjunct the, actually this is the chart for Washington, but that doesn't really matter. What I want to show you here is the moon at that degree 6 degree 55 at the south node here, just to illustrate you how this degree is repeating. Now on the 3rd of March, then, this is the next really big event when Venus will connect with Chiron, with a Leo moon, this time even closer to the black moon. Actually the osculating black moon, which is, the moon has an extremely complex orbit in that sense. It constantly sways around this place. Its orbit sways around this place where it is supposed to be farthest away. So the true lunar apogee is at 1:17 at this moment, which shows this is the true deeper message, that Venus Chiron conjunction here at 1359 in Aries. That would be somewhere here. Here still closely aligned with Jupiter, who helps bringing in its healing powers, its expansive and supportive and positive outlook. But this Venus and Chiron together, this is really the call to help each other and cut through all those barriers which divide us and which are put in place intentionally to really cut through all that and find access to the heart energy, to healing, to bringing that wonderful frequency. Venus has started to manifest on October the 22nd. That was when it had its superior conjunction, being born as an evening star, which, just want to say that once more, Venus is now rising in the evening sky every night a little bit, and in May, June it will be really the brightest star. It already is extremely bright. Interesting here also Nessus, which is that frequency which we are pushing out of this environment, so to say. At least it's lower frequencies. We are transmuting Nessus, and Nessus in its transmuted form is the understanding of it all. It is that dark shadow which never will leave. It will be the memory of what happened on this planet. Nessus carries that frequency. So just a couple charts more, because it's all happening at once on the same, around the same days. It's, as I say, it's an amazing lineup of frequency changes and shifts, important markers. This is when Hygeia enters Aquarius, bringing that whole tune into a new frequency band, looking at it all in a different way, bringing resolutions with the sun here in midheaven. Beautiful. This is the heliocentric chart of that moment. Hygeia here, the descendant. Mars coming really close to its heliocentric opposition here. And then this is March the 4th, you see, and then March the 5th we have this Sun Pherois opposition. And why do I show this? Naturally, first of all, because again it's the Sun here is at exactly at the sunrise point in Greenwich, but also this is just minutes away from the Comet's change into direct motion. SD means stationary direct. You can't see it here in this chart as it's not part of the program, but the Comet at that time is at 8:22 in Gemini, and from here on now moving forward, that is the moment literally when the arrow is released, when the energy is starting to expand, move out, And how about that? Again, the 25 degrees 11 here this time in Gemini. And just look at this 2510. That was the black moon at the comet's discovery. So the circle comes really full. And I mean, there's so much more in these charts. I really just skimmed the surface here. If you stop in between and you look at the charts, you will find many more little hidden gems. But that's it for today. Thank you for joining and listening, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.